Changes in my life.
Bing, 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 bing.
You will
We're supposed to
see
do
in
like.
time.
Seasons, bro.
Hello there.
Welcome to the podcast. Take two.
It's take two, take 3, 4, 5. Hey, we're here. The internet's unreliable, but it's okay. Hello. It is today. It is your day.
This is a day. I actually liked that. We were. For those of you that don't know what's happening, my internet went down. Darren's internet went down. We had a bunch of interruptions. Now I'm connected to my phone's hotspot, and we'll see what happens.
Getting it. Sometimes T-Mobile comes through.
I don't have T-Mobile.
Well, then I don't know what service provider you have because there's no better with greater 5G coverage.
Not sponsored. I have Verizon, and it's
not sponsored. This ad is not paid by T-Mobile.
Oh my goodness.
Well, whatever day that you are listening to us in time, happy day. Hello.
Oh, happy day.
I'm tired.
I'm tired today as well. Today we're going to talk about chivalry.
Ooh, is that today?
Yeah.
Or was today about the choice of homosexuality?
That's next week.
Okay.
Well, you can do whatever you want if you want to bring that up.
Get vaccinated, so everything is better.
Wait, I hear something.
What?
Quit pretending.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh, who's that?
Well, I will welcome.
Hey.
Is that a Samantha Katz I hear?
That's me, the one and only.
I didn't see it. I saw 3 participants, and I was like, "Who's on the call?"
Well,
Sam.
You didn't know it was me. You really didn't know it was me.
No,
I thought you were being coy.
I was being coy. It was for the audience's benefit. Are you calling in though? You sound like you're on your phone.
We do. We got a call in today. Looking at line number 1. Hey, caller number 1.
Oh my gosh, it's our first guest. This is our first guest on the podcast, which is great, Sam, because I have questions, and this will now keep Darrin honest.
Okay, great.
All right.
I love keeping Darrin honest.
I love it.
So, chivalry. Do you think your husband is chivalrous?
I think he can be, yes.
That was
I will say yes. Compared to a lot of other guys out there, 100% yes.
That was such a PC married wife answer.
Well, also in comparison to other douchers around the world, you're okay.
Well, because I've been thinking about a lot about this lately, and when you're married, it's really easy to find the flaws in each other. I'm sure Darrin does the same thing to me. But then comparatively, I hear or see other things that go on with other people's husbands, and I'm like, wow, like I actually have a great husband.
That's
even though he does X, Y, and Z.
Aww.
He's not, as Darrin said, a total doucher like the guy over there. So
that's so nice.
Yeah, I know. That's probably the nicest thing I said today. So
because Darrin, before we had all the internet issues, we defined chivalry a little bit, because Darrin was saying that he uses the way that he shows chivalry is by like doing certain fatherly, husbandly tasks that I feel like are just expected, like changing diapers, doing laundry, hunting, foraging, building a house.
But it's things I wanted to weigh into, because there are the responsibilities in a relationship. Again, not just women make dinner and men go to work, but there is your parenting. So yes, diapers need to be changed, baths need to happen, clothes need to be washed. Like that's all routine. But when you go above and beyond to take care of, we both look at each other and are like, okay, who's going to take care of the diaper blowout? And kind of step in like, hey, I love you. I'm going to take care of this one because I got that's kind of a chivalrous act above and beyond what a normal routine is.
So then I guess the things that I'm looking for as far as seeing like a guy being chivalrous, like if I was out with you and Sam and you didn't do certain things in public, I would judge you for that. So for example, we'll repaint this story. You and Sam are on date night, and we happen to go down to the strip for some unforeseen, ungodly reason. We're down on the strip. We're walking down Las Vegas Boulevard. I am a couple paces behind you. You're holding hands with your wife and you're walking with her. While you're walking down a crowded street, is there a place that you are going to prefer to be? So you're walking side by side with your wife, that is more better than another place? I don't want to give you too many clues.
Sam, you don't have to give it a clue. Just ask this. Sam, what side do you stand on at any given time? You know this.
Darrin is always on the outside. So if there's the street, Darrin is always closest to the street because he always puts us on the inside. That is a chivalrous thing that Darrin does.
Yes.
I would say like housely duties fall under chivalry.
Yes. Which some women I feel like would feel demeaned or like put down by the fact that like their man needs to be on the outside and you do walk on that side. But I think it's chivalrous that the gentleman walks on the outside and protects their lady from traffic or from other people. Like it's just a good barrier to have, and that's something that I feel like was an early on lesson I learned in chivalry, that like even if and I would say even if it's not your wife or your significant other, if I'm walking with a group of women, I am going to be between them and the traffic or them and the potential danger. That's what I was going to get at.
The definition for that I was taught, whether my dad is chivalrous or not, but my grandfather taught it to me. The rule of thumb is the man will always be between what you're protecting and the danger at hand. So that could be traffic. That could be a person who's acting crazy and who is a drunk. That could be walking in the parking lot and there's cars coming from two directions. You make sure that person's protected. You're always putting yourself between something,
or you're just at least mindful of it. Because obviously, always. if you're going to be on the street for like 30 seconds and Sam's like hustling and getting somewhere, you're not going to run and push her to the side and be like, "No, I stand on the outside." You wouldn't. Like
he does.
I do.
It's like the question I didn't want to ask because it's so like cliche is the opening car doors thing. Like I've seen guys who will like run up and slam a car door shut and be like, "Oh, I opened that door." And on the same side of the token, I've seen women walk up to a car and stand there and wait. Like I am going to be, if it were me, I'm going to be like tactful and I'm going to make sure that I beat her to that car so that I can get to like, I'm not going to be crazy. If you beat me to the car and you open your own car door, like my pride's not wounded. I don't care. You're an independent woman. You can open your own car door.
Yeah.
But do you think those kinds of scenarios, as long as you've been married, fade? Like, are you still?
Darrin doesn't open my car door, really. He doesn't.
Not
it doesn't
even
offend me that he doesn't, but he doesn't.
Not even like the sexy way where he like opens it from the inside, like he gets in and like reaches over and like opens your door.
No, he doesn't do that.
No, you don't. It doesn't happen. So this is something that
he's actually probably more annoyed that I'm taking so long to get in the car. Like he does not open my car.
Okay.
But he does sleep closer to the door in our bed.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been in your room. I thought you. I guess you do sleep on the window side, huh?
And the bed that we have now, he sleeps on the door side.
Oh.
So the same way we were talking about this earlier this week, Sam, that we have different relationships. You know what I mean? And they all play into certain times and places during the week. Not so much seasons, because of course there's a getting to know each other season, a dating season, an engagement season, a married season, 6 years married season, parenting season. Okay, sure. Welcome to the Seasons Podcast. Life is a season. Ecclesiastes 3. Go look it up. But we talked about having a physical relationship, an emotional relationship, and a spiritual relationship with each other, and how that is all intertwined. When we are going to Target with our kids, and it's you and I as parents and friends and going and having this whole family that we're responsible for. Yeah, there are moments where you do the car. You get the car door by yourself because it's like, hey, we got to go. We'll get in the car. Let's go. Date night is the same relationship, but it's a different setting. So kids are gone. It's about you and me. And I do want to make the effort to show that, hey, this is time and attention to you in any way that I can make this serve you, all of that. So then on nights that is date night, I do want to make an effort and try to grab the car door for that, because that night is about you and I and about full attention, and that shows attention and love and service.
Yes.
So
okay.
I hear
right. And I hear that. I just don't think it's your strong suit.
Your audio just got so much better, whatever you did.
Oh, did it? I was in the car. Now I'm in the house. So
that's
great. Probably what I did.
You sound amazing.
Excellent.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
But it's just not one of Darrin's strong suits, and I'm fine with it. But I mean, I would consider that
the car door?
The car door, yeah.
Okay.
It's fine, babe. Don't be
No,
like self-conscious about it.
Don't worry about self-conscious about it at all, but that's fine, because there's things more chivalrous that I am than others. No one can be perfect.
Yeah.
But the bigger question is, I think we're getting at, moving away from us and our specific relationship in this as a whole. And Russell, you asked this question basically because you asked it, is as a whole in humanity, is chivalry dead? And then a follow-up question, can women be chivalrous?
Wait, I have one more scenario that I want to make sure we're defining chivalry, and I want to take it in a little bit different direction. I want to not take Sam out of it, but she's here to hold you honest. All right, so you ready for the scenario?
Okay.
You're at Stacy's house. You know that table, the formal dining room table in Stacy's house?
Okay.
Yes.
You've got Phil sitting at the head of the table, and then you and your brothers-in-law are all sitting around the table as well. And there's no seats left. The table is crowded with all these men. All right.
Right.
Sandra comes up and stands behind her husband, who her husband's sitting next to you. And she's been there, part of the conversation for like now 5-10 minutes. Do you feel the need to get up and give her your seat?
Is she pregnant?
I don't think it matters, but let's say sure, yes.
Oh, it absolutely matters. Is she drunk?
Correct.
No.
Then no.
I kind of think there's a hierarchy for seats. So let's say there's 3 seats and you have a various group of people. Old people, older people. I should be politically correct. Sorry, everyone
No,
out there. I'm
please
just
do not.
We're old people.
Older people have first priority. So if an old person comes up and I am sitting in a seat, I will immediately get up and say, hey, would you like to sit down?
How would you feel though if the older person, especially if it was an older gentleman, say it's your dad, what if he was like, oh, here, Sam, take my seat? Would you feel bad taking it from him if he offered it?
No, because I also think that older people come from a generation more inclined to chivalry, and a lot of older men, I'll say men specifically, will give their seat to a lady regardless of age or whatever.
And we think that our generation isn't going to feel that in their heart, the need to give up a seat.
I think that our generation is inherently selfish.
Yes, I said the same word. I mouthed it. You couldn't see it, but I agree.
And they don't even stop to think, oh, I should probably get up and give my seat to that person.
I wouldn't even say, I would definitely say selfish, yes, but I think the issue lies in more of the teaching and discipleship, like it's the parenting and the lack of teaching those individuals. Because as far as I can tell, having lots of middle school and high school friends, they just don't have a clue. It's like, hey, can you grab that door? You want me to what? Can you grab the door for the person who's holding all this stuff? Because we have a ladies group that comes in on Wednesday nights and she's holding all this stuff, trying to open the door. I'm like, hey, go to run as fast as you can to that door and hold that door open so that older lady can bring her stuff.
Anytime I've ever done that too, like I feel so good. Like it is more about me. Like I've heard people argue about this, that it's not for you being selfless and holding the door open. Like it makes me feel good to get to that door and hold it open for that person. Like it's for me.
Okay. I feel
and
like
it is something that I'll speak for myself, but Darrin does this too. Like it's something that I really strive to teach my kids. So like Michael knows if we're sitting in the living room and my dad comes in and there's no other seats, she needs to get up and give him her chair. Like that's just it. And I don't do it because of any other reason other than he's older, and if he needs to be sitting down physically or otherwise, like he should be entitled to that seat. That's how I feel.
I was at a party a couple weeks ago, and I am single, going to be single for the rest of my life, which I'm happy for. And I was sitting around a table with it was mixed. It was men and women. And someone's wife walked up and was standing at the head of the table. We were outside and standing next to her husband. I was sitting across from her husband. And I just got very awkward, like inside, like I didn't say anything, but in my mind, I'm like, get up and give her your seat. Get up and give her your seat. Give up and give her your seat. And he never did. And I didn't want to get up and give her my seat because then I didn't want to be like that pompous ASS that like made him look like a jerk. So instead, I quietly got up, walked over to a table that wasn't being used, picked up a chair, walked back and put it behind her and said, "Oh, hey, I got this for you, sit down." And then of course she was like, "Oh, I didn't need to sit, I didn't want to sit." And I was like, "I don't care, please sit down." Like I tried to make it funny, but like it really made me cringe that I was like, that her husband did not think to do that.
I mean, especially in scenarios where it's social settings, and Sam's on the call to hold me accountable. But I think there's plenty of scenarios like that example, especially in a social setting, with us and peers. And we're in that scenario and I'm sitting down and Sam's been socializing and she comes over and kind of stands next to me. The first question I'll ask, if I'm not already non-verbally communicating, like, "Hey, come sit with me on my lap," I will say, do you want this? Do you want to sit down? Is the first question. Like,
I wouldn't ask. That's the thing I feel like goes into the chivalry column. I wouldn't ask.
Darrin doesn't usually, I'll use us. Darrin doesn't usually ask. He'll like pull me to sit on his lap. And I think that's the bigger issue when you're talking about couples specifically, is that at that point, if I come up to a table where Darrin is sitting and talking to people, I want to be acknowledged. And I think you need to make some sort of gesture to acknowledge that person.
So for sure, chivalry is a choice. We're answering the questions. No, you're not necessarily born with it, but it is taught. And it's
100%.
Your responsibility to teach those under you chivalry.
If we wanted to absolutely 100%.
I think it's definitely a taught thing.
100%.
100%. I don't think it's inherent.
I'm imagining history and what it means to have my lords and my ladies. Like it didn't matter what the scenario was. If everyone's sitting at a dinner function in ancient times, whatever, if a woman walked into the room, every single person stood up at their chair to give attention to the person, female walking in the room, and until to show that respect, to show that, ooh, the woman has entered the room. Normally that comes to being a class thing. If she's a higher up kind of class that everyone has to do. I mean, there's just been levels of it. And of course, I think as generations progress, it's not being taught, it's not being expected, and it's not being penalized for any reason, because you can be whatever you want to be. And I feel like we're falling apart.
The way that this got brought up, I think, as far as it not being a choice, being taught, spiritual gift, was I was talking about this with Tiffany, and like just that draw inside to obey a chivalrous whim, for me to give up my seat, grab a girl a plate of food, open a door, walk on the outside. Like, yes, that was taught, but then that like pull inside my heart to do it, because she was saying, oh, that chalks up to like hospitality or any of those other like spiritual gift type things. And so maybe, I guess the question is, you can teach, obviously, if you're going to take hospitality, you could teach hospitality to your children, but they're going to be, I feel like, more inclined or not inclined to be hospitable if that's their spiritual calling or gift or not. No?
Well, I think so. Somewhere down the line, you could probably, Russell, I'm speaking directly to you, like you could probably say that you learned chivalrous acts from somebody somewhere taught you, okay, these are like the basics of chivalry, whether it was addressed that way or not, somebody taught you that.
Yes.
But you yourself, one of your spiritual gifts, I think you are very aware of other people and what they may or may not need.
I took it more to heart.
And so you go out of your way to do things for people that they might need, because that is your spiritual gifting. Whether it's hospitality, sure, you can call it hospitality. I think it's just being conscious of other people's feelings. I don't know what kind of spiritual gift that is. I mean, but
Russell and I, you talk about this all the time.
It's empathy.
Empathy, compassion, service, hospitality. I mean, we've talked about it for years, Russell.
Service. Thank you. That's what
acts of service. That is my love language, is acts of service.
Yeah.
And just having awareness. I mean, like we joke about it all the time. Anime references that you have a Sharingan eye to be able to see the unseen kind of things. But at the end of the day, it's like you're standing in the grocery store line and you see that someone is having an issue or a hard time. Like, you're aware of what you can do to resolve a situation, and we will go out of our way to help somebody else to resolve a situation. Like, hey, I see these things happening, even though it doesn't concern me, and I go for it, compared to somebody else that can't see those things, who maybe is an only child or just has never been raised or been taught to see these kind of things. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss, and they just don't know. It's not to judge them or blame them. It's just, I think
they don't know any better.
It's not defined as like a spiritual gifting is chivalry. No, I think that is a 100% learned act. But it comes easier for some of those than it does others.
Yeah.
But it needs to be something that's taught for everybody. Respect is respect, and this kind of falls under that next level of respect, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sam, what do you feel about? I
was gonna say, can women be chivalrous?
Yeah, I think they can.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know if they call it the same thing.
I was just gonna ask, is it called the same thing? Is it different? Is it?
I mean, in 2021, they better call it the same thing. Because then I was gonna thinking of the scenario. What if it was me walking down the street with two lesbians? Like, is it still appropriate for me to stand on the outside? Especially if one of them is more masculine than I am. Does that matter? About our cisgendered. Well, that's a whole thing we can go down.
Wow. The answer to that is, do you still do the same thing? Yes, because it is two females. Let's take it a step further. Someone who used to identify as a woman, but is now trying to identify as a man because they think that's what they need to transition as. And now they want to take the acts of being the chivalrous person. You stand in between the traffic like you're used to. And then that man or woman is now upset because that's now his role. And how does all that play out? I think it's all comically silly.
Because I 100% believe that I could marry a woman who is much more, like, I imagine dating a bodybuilder or someone who could probably kill me in a fight. Like, I feel like they would probably be in a better position to stand between me and the traffic.
Sure.
Like, does it really matter about gender roles anymore as far as being, but and then it's a social concept, because then I feel like even if I was the scrawny one walking down the street with a female, like, I would feel like I'm being judged for not standing on the outside.
You would still need to be. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Even if I had She-Hulk as my wife.
She is. Nobody's ever seen Sam on the podcast. She basically is She-Hulk.
That's what I'm saying.
5 feet tall and a whole lot of love. So it's still a responsibility of the male in that relationship to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Period.
I feel like our listeners, I mean, I don't know, our audience feels very Republican, so maybe everyone would agree. But I think that, like, it's crazy that we're in the world that we live in now, especially with the company that I work for and the gender identity and the inclusive language and everything. Like, these simple little things can become so dramatic. And I think that it would boil down to a relationship with somebody, because say that I have some very strong-willed women that I work with who they're always calling people out on using the word like guys and saying team instead, like those gender words that are just so thrown around. Like, I feel like if I were to date one of them or take them out on a date, if they were to communicate to me that they were offended by an act of chivalry, I feel like then it becomes a conversation of like, hey, I'm not trying to put you in your place. I'm not trying to make you submit. It's just, this is something that brings me joy.
Yes.
But then if we can't get past it and she were to say, hey, this makes me uncomfortable when you open my door or when you walk on the outside in traffic, then I guess there would be room for negotiation for me to say, all right, if this is going to be a deal breaker in our relationship, then I don't have to do those things. Like,
oh, and that's the same in any relationship with basically anything. You work through what is the common ground and the compromise and how you guys work those out and whether they are deal breakers or not.
Yeah,
that's really in general.
Yeah. Sam, how do you feel about the vaccine?
Do you really want to ask me that?
No, we don't. No, we're not doing vaccines, Russell. I already told you.
Darrin has to bring up the vaccine in every podcast, and so I wanted to beat him to it. I did beat him to it in take one of this podcast before we lost the internet, and so I was waiting for my opportunity to bring it in again. So I thought I would throw you under the bus. But
my blanket statement for the vaccine.
You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer.
Okay, I won't then. Everyone will just have to wonder how I feel about it.
I mean, if you feel strongly about, we all know how Darrin feels.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Darrin took my thoughts and to the podcast, though.
I mean, you are one person.
We are, and he has to listen to me rant about things all the time.
We differ on it.
Are you already off work for the day, Sam, or are you just on a break?
I am off work. I'm going to get a car wash.
I need to go get a car wash and a smog.
Oh yeah,
and to register your car.
Well, yeah, that was going to be a 1-2 punch. Like, I was going to do that same place.
Oh.
I could really go for some Charlie's chicken right now, or not Charlie's, Lakeside.
Lakes. I went to Lakes for breakfast, so I feel like it's bad form to go again. What do you guys think?
Right. No,
Because I also went there for dinner last night. So
no, it's good food and it's good price, and we love Sue.
it really is. I love Sue. She's the ultimate best.
She is the ultimate best. I went and got Lakeside to go a couple weeks ago, and she was the person that took my payment, and she always is so kind because she doesn't remember who I am. Unless I was with you guys, then maybe she would remember, but she just pretends like she knows who I am, and she's just so cute about it. But
She is. She's the very best. You gotta love her.
Sue. Though the chicken that day was not good. It was not good, but that's all right.
You didn't love it?
It wasn't her fault. It was just like old and not fresh.
Yeah. That's not good.
If you live in Las Vegas,
a good plug for Lakes Lounge.
Oh, don't plug it because it's
I'm
already
not going to tell them where
crowded.
it is. Oh, you're right. Okay, you're right. It doesn't matter. They can Google
I'm
it.
like having to wait. I just can't.
There's a place called There's a place called Charlie's on the corner. Sarah
Yeah,
and
that
Rango,
place needs business. So
Durango, go there and stay away from Lake Lounge.
And if you say that you got this promo code from Seasons Bro, they give you nothing.
Oh my gosh, can we get sponsored by Lakes Lounge, please?
that is so funny.
Free chicken
I'll talk to
fingers,
them.
free cinnamon toast, French toast, cinnamon toast, French toast. Yeah, Sue.
Fun fact: Lakes Lounge is owned by Ellis Island. So,
I don't even know what Ellis Island is.
isn't it? It's a casino, right?
Ellis Island is a casino downtown that used to have like the $5 steak and beer.
It's not even downtown, isn't it? Off of like
downtown is downtown. It's off the backside of the strip. It's
like
on Paradise,
or
Paradise,
something.
and
No. Downtown is like Fremont. That's not downtown. That's behind the strip. That's the ghetto.
I know, it's just down there.
That is the ghetto.
Anyway,
if you want Lakes Lounge, get it to go. Don't take up seats. It's a very small place. Don't come at our restaurant.
go away. Don't come to our restaurant. Go to some other place.
I feel like having Sam here is a rare opportunity. What else should we ask her? We've got some time.
Well, her phone died because she disappeared off phone call, and last time I
no.
called her on her break, her phone was beeping that she had 10%. And knowing
Technology is not
beautiful, forethoughtful wife, her phone died.
technology is not on our side today with the internet issues and the phones dying.
You know,
The heck.
just got finished with Revelations class, man. It's the end of the world.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah. With the who was it? The looking. Oh, so you brought up the looking glass last episode, right?
Yes.
That's an actual thing. Like not that conspiracy theory. There, my coworkers brought it up, and I almost laughed out loud. But it's an actual website where you can go to look at the internet routing table, to like see if your website is still communicating with the World Wide Web at large. It's called the Looking Glass, and you can see like routing tables that routers have. Yeah, it was funny that it was called the Looking Glass, but can't tell the future. The world is over.
Can tell the future.
Revelations.
I can't just reveal my secrets.
The Bible.
Yes. Well, shocker. Do I want to go down this road? Maybe I do.
Spit it out.
Last night was our last week of the sex series.
Is this with your youth?
With my high school friends.
That's awkward. You should give some more context to that. If people don't know that you are a youth pastor, it sounds like you've got children who are your friends and you're talking to them about sex. This is weird.
I know that, but when you say words like, "Oh, my students," like I don't like those phrases.
Okay,
So
Darrin
like,
is a high school youth pastor, and he has a flock of youth that their parents make them come to church. Darrin doesn't go seek out these children to talk to them about sex. Disclaimer over. Okay, continue your story.
Disclaimer over.
I'm back, guys. Did you notice my phone died?
We did.
Oh wait, so what happened to your phone?
It died.
Oh,
I get $5.
I know.
I won $5.
Darrin knew.
He always knows.
Do you not charge your phone at night?
Usually I do, but when I pass out, I don't.
For the visually impaired people who aren't watching the YouTube version of this, Darrin is making gestures of exactly what Sam just said, that he usually charges her phone. So
Yeah.
lots of disclaimers. Anyway, Darrin, you were talking about sex.
I would call that chivalry. That's what I would
Indeed.
call that.
And I would too. Do you want to finish your thought and your story about your youth and talking about sex with them?
Oh boy. I mean, attraction isn't a sin.
Attraction is not a sin.
Attraction is not a sin.
Interesting. Okay. It is the gateway to sin. Continue.
Could be, as there are lots of
100%.
temptations and gateways to ideas that will take you to places that inevitably end in death.
Indeed. Don't play in the street unless you want to get hit by a car.
That's all. Although it's tempting to chase the soccer ball into the street because it's something that you want or desire. But without the proper protection or know-how or awareness of the danger, you get hit by the car.
Indeed. Was that all you were going to say about it?
There were so many things I wanted to say, and I have not thought about what the questions could be. And I really don't want to say things that I don't fully agree with or whatnot. So I'm not going to touch this just yet.
All right, next episode, because we are out of time for today.
Okay. Woo! Saved by the bell. Oh my gosh.
We'll do it next week. What are the takeaways from today?
We're gonna do what next week? I'm not gonna do it next week, bro. What are you talking about?
What?
Oh my gosh, you're such a child.
What did I even say that made you think that? I said we'll talk about it next week, didn't I?
No, you said we'll do it next week.
Do it, Russell.
Oh
That's
my
all.
word.
That's what you said. He's a 5-year-old.
You're married.
Oh
to a
boy, that's
5-year-old.
hilarious.
Sam, what was your takeaway from the podcast?
Continue to be chivalrous.
Teach your children chivalry.
Teach your children chivalry.
I would go beyond that and say teach your children chivalry by being chivalrous,
Yes.
because it is a dying dead art.
And also spank them when they're not being chivalrous.
No.
Wow, that's excessive. We don't spank our kids that often.
How old is Michael?
4.
I don't think that's old enough to be disciplining her for not being chivalrous.
I mean, you really got to teach them young, though. For
That's what I'm saying.
real.
If you ask her to get up and give grandpa the seat and she says no, then she's not listening. For sure, beat her. But if she doesn't not like come to that conclusion all on her own, you don't spank her and be like, you didn't notice.
Again, we don't beat our children. For
Spare the rod,
any
Sam. Spare the rod.
CPS agents listening, we don't beat our children.
Spare
But you do have to discipline at a young age, because that's when they're most formative. When they get to be about 7 or 8, it's almost too late. So
teach me young. Teach me young.
My goodness.
Fun fact though, my dog can learn throughout his entire life. Golden retrievers love to please people, so I can never stop teaching him. So,
Yeah.
Don't you wish you had a dog instead of children?
No, she has
Never.
one. I'm willing to learn and to learn new habits all the time. So I don't know what she's complaining about.
Oh man.
that's true.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Do you clean your room for these podcasts, or just always keep it that clean?
Oh, do you have you can see me? I just can't see you.
Yeah.
I keep my room pretty clean. I make my bed for the podcast for sure.
See, I make my bed every morning usually,
Depends on the mood I'm in.
but your room's really clean. All that to say, nice job.
Thank you. Sam, thank you for joining us. We need you on more often. Come
It's
anytime.
my pleasure. Always
day-
a pleasure.
One day we need you in person though, like visually.
One day. I need warning for that.
Yeah, I know.
So
Same. I mean, you can see we care.
When you get the caller on the call radio and you get a call in, you just, you phone the friends. So
That's right.
although people should see me in my natural form, so maybe no warning is great.
A chivalrous husband would take this opportunity to tell you that you're beautiful always.
Exactly. But
thank you for stealing my thunder.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.